And to Washington now, this is a live look at the U.S. Capitol, where members of Congress gathered this morning to mark the second year since the Capitol insurrection. January 6th, 2021, a mob of mostly President Donald Trump supporters stormed the Capitol. About 140 officers were injured that day. Some of those police officers receiving the Presidential Citizens Award today. President Joe Biden also honoring election workers and local officials who became targets of harassment. Here in our state, activists, lawmakers, and others say they're worried the events of January 6 could happen again. So far, about 24 people from North Carolina have been charged with federal crimes in connection with the attack. Most of their cases are not resolved yet.
I feel like our democracy is in grave danger, that the attempt to overthrow the government on January 6th and overturn the election, nullifying our votes, that attempt to overthrow the government is ongoing.
Coming up on WNCT 9 News at 5:30, we'll have a live report from Raleigh taking a closer look at some of the January 6 cases tied to North Carolina and where they currently stand. And as we continue to look back at that historic day, political experts here in North Carolina are also weighing in. Now to your sides, Aaron Jenkins joins us now in studio after talking to one of them. So Aaron, what are they saying about this day?
Well, Ken, some of these political experts are saying it's a day some people won't soon forget. They say, well, it was an unprecedented event. It's important to remember that at the end of the day, American democracy was upheld.
It was very important to see in a sense, somewhat surprising, the strength of the system, that it was able to withstand an assault on the confirmation of who was elected president.
It's been 2 years since the attack on the U.S. Capitol. Dr. Brad Lockerbie, who's a political science professor at ECU, says while it was a moment our country had never seen before, the way the government handled the situation was important.
Everything stood strong. State elected officials who President Trump pushed to go along with him didn't go along with him. Then Vice President Pence went beyond his allotted powers to enforce the rule of law and basically say, regardless of whether President Trump does something, I'm going to be here to defend the rule of law.
In late December, the January 6th committee released their findings of the day.
The important development that came out was the involvement of President Trump in at least encouraging it, explicitly or implicitly.
Bud Lockerbie says he doesn't think much else will come from that report.
Republicans will shut the committee down when they take over. Is there going to be any serious policy changes? I doubt it very seriously.
Looking back, Lockerbie says the takeaway 2 years later,
the anniversary of January 6th, I think we ought to revel in the fact that the system held. We have a very resilient system, and I think that is something about which we can take a great deal of pride.
Lockerbie says the January 6th committee did recommend criminal charges against former President Donald Trump, but those charges would have to be officially filed from the Attorney General. He says it's unclear if that would happen right now. In studio, Aaron Jenkins, 9 on your side.